Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you guys are doing really well. Happy New Year. I know I know January is almost over, but hey, it's a new year. We still have time to do great things. All right, so I wanted to do a top books of 2018. Top books of 2018 video, just to let you guys know what I really enjoyed reading last year. So yeah, out of all the books that I did read. Alright, so starting off, let's start with The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I really enjoyed this book. I read Everything, I'd say about a year ago. It was a little bit before the movie came out. I wanted to read it before the movie came out. So I read that, and then I knew she had this book, but I just never took the time to go and, I didn't seek it out, if that makes sense. So what I did was, I had a little bit of money from school, and I was like, oh, let me treat myself. And so I went to Barnes & Noble, and I bought, a bunch of books so that I could start reading over the summer, and I did. So this is one of the first ones that I read, and it's really good. So basically it's about a guy named Daniel and a girl named Natasha. Natasha is Jamaican and Daniel is Korean. Alrighty, so they meet at a point in their lives where a lot can happen, and then a lot will happen. A lot of choices they have to make. Natasha is preventing her family from being deported, or trying to prevent that, and Daniel is just trying to make a decision whether he wants to go to school or to a specific school for a specific subject, and they're just dealing with that. But they meet in New York, and it's really cute, and I love it, and I recommend it. If you're into romance stuff. If you're not, then don't read it. So yeah. Next book is Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Oh my gosh. I read this book around my birthday. I think it was the day after. I just stayed up reading it. And I was just so, So if you don't know what this book is about, Simon is a 16-year-old boy. He loves his friends, he loves his family. He has a dog named Bieber, and he's gay, but nobody knows that he's gay. And he reaches out to someone that he goes to school with anonymously because they posted online about it. And so he reached out to them, and so they're emailing anonymously. It's going great, until a classmate, Martin, finds Simon's emails and then eventually just starts blackmailing him so he can get in with this girl, which is that's gross, But yeah, and so Simon is dealing with that, and then he makes some choices, and I don't want to give too much away. I mean, it's a pretty popular book, and people have already read it, or at least seen the movie. But if you haven't, I won't give too much away. But definitely read it. Watch the movie. It was great. Alrighty. The next book I read was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I will be honest with you. I wasn't really interested in reading it, if that makes sense. I read The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns and Looking for Alaska around the same time, and I was 14, 15. And a lot of the books that I read then, I'm not really into that much now, so I wasn't too sure about it. But I was wrong to judge this book before reading it, because it's really good. Just to give you the main synopsis of it. Main character's name is Aza. She's 16. She and her best friend Daisy are basically trying to solve this mystery of a missing billionaire, a local billionaire. And so what happens is they end up reconnecting with the son of the said billionaire, and just trying to figure out what happens without making it seem like that's why, because there's a reward, etc. Right? But that's the underlying plot. It's not the most important thing about it. The most important thing is that Aza has anxiety and OCD, I believe. And so I would be careful if that's not something that you're able to read right away. But it's very prominent, and it's oh my goodness, like reading this, it kind of puts you right in the middle of like the thought processes and the spiraling and like all of it, and it just makes sense because everybody experiences it differently. And so it was really enlightening, and it just kind of broke my heart, honestly. But I would definitely recommend this. Like, please read it if you want. If it sounds interesting to you, go for it. Alrighty. The next book is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. Riordan? Yes. I'm just gonna go with that. So I never read the Percy Jackson series. I was never allowed to, so that's my excuse. I was never allowed to. But I did read it, and I loved it. I loved it. And I watched the movie, and I finally understood why everyone didn't like the movie, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. I'm not too, I don't really get too upset when it comes to book to movie adaptations. But wow, I don't even think I have to explain this. I don't even think I do. But I loved it. 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 Like, I could only say this so many times. But just to give a brief synopsis, Percy Jackson is a troubled kid. He doesn't do well in school. And it's just like he seems to be getting kicked out left and right. And he's really trying not to at this point. And then all these mythological creatures start coming and attacking him. And he's like, what is happening? And he's like freaking out. And he has all these powers. And then he finds out that he is a demigod. I will not tell you who their parent is, but I'm sure you can look it up. I'm sure you know. But yes, and Zeus's lightning bolt was stolen, and so they're on the hunt to go look for it and bring it back and stop the war among the gods. It's great. It's great. Okay, I totally wish I'd read that when I was like 12, but alas, I didn't. But it's okay. It's totally fine because I'm reading it now. I read it now, and it's great. The next book is The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X. Harpan. This book, you guys, is so amazing. Like, it'll like rip your heart out and put it back. I know that everyone didn't love it, but I loved it. I'd say that people liked it, but I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. Like, it was so good. And it took me a little while to read it. It's kind of thick. It's a little thick. God. It has 462 pages. So it took me a little while to read it, but it's definitely worth the read, to be honest with you. The genre is magical realism, and it follows the main character, Lee. She is mixed. She's mixed with Taiwan. Yes, so she's half she's half Asian and she's half white, and her mother's side is from Taiwan. So unfortunately, in the beginning of the book, we learn that her mother committed suicide, and this just sets off all this grief and just, you're kind of following through the stages, right? And so that night after, the night of, no, after, because it's like it happened and then, okay, but that night, she wakes up and she sees this red bird, like this giant red bird, and she is convinced that her mother has turned into a bird. And so she eventually travels to Taiwan with her father to figure out why why her mother is a bird, and why she never really knew that part of her family. And so she's learning all these things about her mother that she never knew before, and just things about her grandparents and her parents, her father. But it's just amazing. Like, it shows grief and loss and love and heartbreak, and it's just like, yes, And there's a little bit of romance in it, but that's not the main plot. Like, that's not the main thing. But it's really good, and I really recommend it. It's pretty good. Like, this is on my top 10 list book, like, forever. Forever. Like, that's it. That's it. The next book on my list is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I will be very honest with you, this book traumatized me, but in a great way. Because you already know that they're gonna die. And he just sets up this live your last day kind of thing. And then they die. And it hurts a lot more than you think it would. You know, like, you think there's like a little thing in the end where it's like, oh, they're not gonna die. It's gonna be okay. Something happens. Nope. Like the cover, the title is the truth. It's the truth. But you'll love it. It's very LGBTQ plus friendly. It follows two characters, Mateo and Rufus, and they get the call saying, hey, this is your last day. You have 24 hours to live, by this company called Deathcast, which is basically, if you receive the phone call, that's it. Like, there's no getting out of it. Like, because it's like they have a team of psychics. Like, no one really knows how they know, but they know. And it's like it's never wrong, but it's not like they don't send people out to get you. It's just like, hey, this is what's gonna happen today. Please live your best day. And, you know, and so they end up meeting through this app, and they spend their last day together, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I'd recommend it. Yeah, and look at the cover. It's so pretty, and it's so, like, haunting at the same time. Like, it's Mateo and Rufus, and then it looks like a school, and then, you know, the Reaper. Okay, you guys can, you know. The next book on my list is Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I read this book like the beginning of the summer, last summer, like around May, June-ish. I read it because I'd always seen the movie, and I love the movie. Like, it's so good, you know. And then I was like, let me read the book, you know. I'm sure the book is really good. So the book is written in letters. So Charlie, he's starting high school for the first time. He's struggling with a lot. He's gone through a lot. And he's trying to make friends and get through his first year of school. And he's just writing to someone named Dear Friend. He's just writing to them, telling them about all the things that are going on, the things that he's struggling with. And you guys, it's amazing. Like, read the book, watch the movie. It's amazing. The author of the book actually directed the movie. So, hey, you know, but I will give a trigger warning or content warning for attempted suicide, sexual abuse, you know. And I'll also put, like, other ones if I can remember. But just be very wary going into it. And if you feel you're not able to, that's okay. No one's forcing you to. This is a happy environment. Read what makes you happy. Alright. So the next book on my list is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I actually read this in November, like, end of November going into December. This is amazing. Like, I wasn't too sure going into it because I'm more of a romance. Like, I'm more of a love kind of thing. But I really enjoyed it. So I put it in, like, the action, adventure, tiny romance. Because it's not, like, it's important, but it's not the main thing. Like, it's not the main thing following the story as if it were, like, The Sun Is Also a Star or something like that. Or Everything, you know? Like, it's not a huge component to the story. But it's great. So Scythe is set in a world without disease or hunger, so nobody's truly suffering. Nobody's homeless. It's great. Humanity is just evolved into something great. Nobody dies anymore. And that's just something that they did. Like, there are no natural deaths, but there is this organization called the Scythes, and they are in charge of population control. and so they end lives essentially. And two main characters, Citra and Rowan, are chosen to be Scythe's apprentice. And at first they're like, no, because who wants to learn the art of killing someone in a world where death isn't a thing, you know? But they learn, and it's wild. Like, it is wild. I don't want to give too much away. Like, I'm just basically just giving you what's on the back of the book, because this will take you for a ride, you guys. But it's great. It's amazing. I can't wait to read the sequel. I think it came out already. But yes, this is great. I love it. I recommend it. Please read it. And the last book on my list is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I read this book in May. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I was texting my friend. I was like, does it end the way I think it's gonna end? And she's like, yes, it does. And but this book is extremely important because it highlights a very important topic that is on the news every day. Like, people die because of this every single day. So if you don't know what The Hate You Give is about, it's about a young girl named Star. She grew up in the hood, but she goes to school in like a very preppy, rich, white neighborhood. And so she feels very torn, if that makes sense. She has like two different sides. And so one night she goes to a party in her neighborhood, and she runs into an old friend that she hasn't seen in a while, but is so happy to see them. And she is just so great, and it's wonderful. And so, but unfortunately, his name is Khalil, sorry. But unfortunately, as Khalil is taking her home, they get pulled over, and he's asked to step out of the car, and the police officer ends up shooting him because he was reaching into the car for a hairbrush. And Star witnesses this and is just traumatized. She doesn't know what to do, and she just feels very torn because she doesn't know whether she should testify, you know. And so she's just very torn. Let's say it again. Especially when like the kids that she goes to school with start reacting to it. Like, there's a scene where they protest class for Khalil, and it's awful, honestly. But she learns a lot, and she ends up making a very important choice, and especially in the people in her life. And you know, it's just it's so good. It's so good. I know you guys know it's good. It's great. Angie Thomas is a gift. It's a gift, I tell you. Alright, you guys, I have an announcement. So, to kick off the new year, I decided to do a giveaway of The Sun Is Also a Star. Because I have the exclusive collector's edition now, and so I don't need 2 copies. So, it's in pretty good condition. It is a little, like, scuffy on the back, but it's great. So just comment down below, like, a social media handle that you're comfortable posting, and I will put them all in, like, a random generator thing, and then I'll just pick the person, and I'll contact you, and we'll go from there and get in the book. And so I'm really excited about it. It's my first giveaway, so hey, I hope you like it, and I'm really glad that you guys stuck around for this video. It's kind of long, but hey, I'm sorry, but I really hope you like it. Love you guys.